Title: What makes introverted people hard to read and unforgettable in others' minds? Psychology of Love. Part 1, Introduction. There are people who don't talk much. They don't try to impress. They don't seek to appear at the right moment to be remembered. They are there very quietly. They don't raise emotions high. They don't create climaxes. They don't cling to anyone. But strangely, after they leave, more questions appear in others' minds than answers. It's unclear what they were thinking. No one knows how much they cared. And it's uncertain whether they were truly indifferent or just very reserved. And it is this uncertainty that makes their image linger longer than usual. Part 2. We often think that people who speak little and react little are because they lack emotions. That if they truly care, people would show it more clearly, would be more proactive, would need others more. And when we don't see that, we label them with familiar tags. Difficult to approach, cold, or indifferent. But the uneasy feeling still remains, because even though they are understood that way, they never disappear from memory. Part 3. Reading the Inner Mind. There are people who appear very calm, but inside them, it is not peaceful at all. On the outside, they are gentle, quiet, not eager to show off. On the inside, they observe for a long time, measure carefully, and keep themselves at a safe distance. They are not afraid of rejection. What they fear most is becoming the one who cares more. Because they have been like that before, they learn to stand still. Not to take the initiative too early, not to ask too deep questions, not to let emotions override reason. It's not because they have no feelings, but because they don't want to be the weaker party. You may have met someone like that, always listening a lot but speaking very little about themselves. Or maybe there were times when you also chose to remain silent, not because you didn't care, but because you didn't know where to place yourself. But that is still not the most important thing. And the interesting thing is, the human brain reacts very differently to each type of silence like that. Part 4. The underlying psychological mechanism. The brain doesn't like things that are too predictable. When everything is too clear, the brain stops asking questions. But when information is missing, the brain starts filling in the gaps itself. Silence creates curiosity. Curiosity triggers dopamine, and dopamine makes us remember longer. When a person doesn't say everything, the brain interprets on their behalf. And each time it interprets, the image of that person is further reinforced. And it is here that many people begin to misunderstand. Part 5. Reversing perception. We are used to judging care by the level of outward expression. But there are types of silence that are not indifference. It is the way some people keep their inner selves undisturbed, not swept away by the emotional rhythm of others, not losing their inner balance. And if we don't understand that, we can easily misinterpret that silence. Part 6. The hard truth. Not everyone can tolerate this type of person, because they don't react based on surface emotions. They don't keep explaining. They don't try to prove anything. Being around them, you don't always feel reassured, and you're not always sure where you stand. And that's why many connections with them don't last. Part 7. Conclusion. There are people who don't need to do much, but just by leaving, they leave behind a void that's hard to name. Not because they are perfect, but because they don't leave enough clues for the brain to close the story. And sometimes, what we miss the most is what was never said. Thank you for listening. If these reflections resonate with you, please subscribe to Reflection Channel so you won't miss the next stories.